Morning Legends, it's Thursday, and today is a really good day because last night was the best sleep that I've had since August of 2024. And according to my calculations off the top of my head in this very moment, that's like 8 or 9 months of just not having good sleeps every single night. It was absolutely nuts, but hopefully that is a thing of the past. And I've come to probably the best place in the world and my happy place, Kangaroo Town, to tell you this story about what the hell happened yesterday and why my life might have just got a little bit less painful. Oh, also, welcome 10 at checkout in the link to get 10% off some elite running hats. They're really good, absolutely amazing hats. They fit so nice. They are light. They are the best. Link is in the description. I don't promote myself enough. I'm really shit. And I always forget about promoting what I've made every single video for like the last couple of weeks. I don't know, I just forget. So yesterday afternoon, I had a procedure done on my leg to try and fix a problem that I've had for the last 8 months that have been causing me absolute grief. I'm gonna explain when I get home and when I have my hands on my whiteboard exactly what the procedure was, but basically it was to stop a nerve from being nerve pain. So here's what happened. I went to Europe and I spent a lot of time in planes. And when I got back from Europe, my hip was giving me burning pains in my hip and my quad, as well as really sharp pains all through my quad muscle itself. And I'm not gonna lie, it was fucking horrible. So what I did initially was I had 6 weeks where I just cross-trained because I thought it was the running that was actually causing whatever issue was going on. So cross-trained for 6 weeks, absolutely no change in my symptoms. It was a nightmare. So I said, okay, I guess I can't do anything. So I did 6 weeks after that of absolutely nothing. Like the most sedentary part of my life that I've ever had was then. I've never not exercised for 6 weeks straight. I felt like an absolute pig. And so then in November, I did start to get back into running, but it was a never-ending daily struggle of, you know, trying to run, it being really shit, it hurting, me not being able to figure out exactly what was causing the pain because it was just not really making sense. There's a kangaroo right here, hold on. Hey big dog, how we going? So I got back into running and then I didn't. I stopped it around Christmas time because it was just annoying the shit out of me and it was making everything else in my life really painful. So I stopped, had another month off, started running again in January, and I've been running since for about 13 weeks, but you know, I can't really run past like 40 Ks a week without having some pain, and it's really annoying. And look, having a rest from running and resting and, you know, rehabbing and stuff, I don't have an issue with. In fact, I don't mind that kind of process to like rebuild yourself. That is absolutely fine. But what I can't handle is constant, never-ending pain in my leg with no particular pattern that goes across my entire life, not just when I'm running. Like if it was only painful when I could run, I would be able to manage a lot better. But being in constant pain is probably the biggest mental challenge I've had to experience in a long time in my 29 years of being on this earth. It's absolutely horrible. Like I've not really talked about this a great deal because, you know, I probably have a bit of an ego and I don't really want to mention stuff like this. You know, maybe I want to pretend that I'm some strong dude, but like realistically there were some days where I was in that much pain that I was just sat in my car crying because I had to go to work, and going to work required me to sit in the car, which was going to cause burning pains after 5 minutes, and I had an hour drive to get to where I needed to go for work. Like that was probably the worst moment, and that moment was probably when I made the video about how much I fucking hate Strava. So if you want to go and watch me at my saddest, most frustrated moment, go watch that video. I've not watched it again since I've made it, probably because it's probably quite sucky. Hello, Mr. Bird. How are you doing? So I wrote in my phone yesterday a couple of things that I think that I've learned from this process that might be valuable to other people. Okay, number one, nothing is more important than health. You know, I don't really give a fuck about how fast I can run and, you know, what times I can run in races or, you know, how much mileage I'm doing each week if Everything else in my life is constant pain. I just all of a sudden don't care about that. It's very interesting. Number 2, I have a newfound respect for people who come in to see me when I'm a physiotherapist with a multiple year history of pain. I didn't realize, because I've never experienced this length of constant pain, how impactful it is on your mental health and your motivation to do things, and your motivation to help other people when you yourself are really dealing with some annoying stuff. It's quite an interesting thing to learn. And number 3, nothing is actually guaranteed, no matter how hard you work. I did rehab every single day since August. It just bit me. I've spent the last 8 months doing rehab daily, probably even 3 times a day. You see how much I stretch and do mobility and do glute work and do strength training and all that kind of stuff. And I did cardio when I could, and I tried to keep some sort of fitness. And if that one thing of fitness was making it too sore, I would just flip to the next thing and I would just continue doing that, because I've now learnt that you can put in all of the work in the world and the outcome that you're looking for is not guaranteed. It'll come or it doesn't come. But what that shouldn't do is change your mentality about being the kind of person that's gonna put in the work, even though it's not guaranteed, because putting in the work is what makes you a better person, not the actual outcome itself, okay? I'm so glad that this has happened to me, because I've learned so much about myself and my body, and I've realized that, all I can control is the inputs, how hard that I work to the goal that I want to get, and whether I achieve that goal or not, right in the, time frame that I've given myself, it doesn't even matter. Now, this is the last thing that I think that I've learnt throughout this process, that I have something deep inside me that refuses to give up, like ever. And coupling that with the fact that anything that you do is not guaranteed means that, like, if you do nothing and you give up, it's absolutely 100% not guaranteed to get to where you want to be. So if you just refuse to give up and you just stay in the game as long as possible, whether it's guaranteed or not, whether you get this outcome, it doesn't even matter, because you're staying in the game. You're never going to give up, guys. Never give up on things that you really are passionate about. There were some days, right, where I would be standing at my stand-up desk because sitting hurt so much, and I'd be editing a video and the pain would be so bad that every 5 minutes I would be questioning myself, like, man, I just can't stand here and edit this video any longer because it's giving me so much grief. And I would just push through, because I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up on you, and I don't want to give up on myself. Tell you what, man, these ants are insane. They're everywhere. Look, they're biting me. Stop it. Look at them everywhere. What the hell? See, ants don't give up. They keep going no matter what, don't they? That's right. And with that being said, maybe this procedure that I've had will not help me in the long term. It's not guaranteed, I have to continue doing everything that's got me to where I am right now. And if this procedure helps or not, ants. If this procedure helps or not, it doesn't matter, because nothing is guaranteed, brother. But one thing is guaranteed, and that is that I will never give up. And you should never give up either, because, what's the point in life if you're just going to give up when things get hard? Now, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below, in the Peak Stride Run Club forum down below, what you guys have been through, the hardest thing that you guys have been through, and how you overcame it in life and in running that made you a better person, to make you, therefore, a better runner. The hardest thing that I've ever been through in my life is my dad passing away. That's a story for another time in another video that I'll tell in the future eventually. But this comes not close, actually. It's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as that. But it's been pretty horrible in terms of my first world problems, and I'm hoping that I can continue to make it better. Let me know in the comments below. Let's get this day rolling. So I'm going to explain to you exactly what the procedure was and why and when. Okay, so here is a diagram of the hip. That's the hip bone, okay? And the muscles of the quads come from the hip and go down to the knee. So that's the quad muscles. This blue thing is the inguinal ligament. It's a ligament that goes from one side of the hip to the groin, and it basically holds a lot of stuff in place, okay? There's a nerve that goes underneath that ligament, and that nerve is the lateral femoral cutaneous nerve. And this nerve is the one that has been the most annoying for me and has been giving me my symptoms from lateral quad pain all the way into like deep groin pain. It doesn't really matter what I do or when, it just would change all the time. Really annoying. Now, the thing about this nerve is that it's probably not going to get injured directly. It's probably from something else, something that's going to put pressure on it. And I would probably say that I probably had some sort of proximal quad, probably rec fem tendinopathy at some stage that had produced an enlarged tendon for long enough to actually piss this nerve off. Now, that tendon's probably fine now, but it's left this annoying piece of shit nerve that will not stop giving me pain. Now, what did the surgery actually do? So here's what they did. They used an ultrasound machine to get a needle and put it into the nerve. They then set up this weird special box thing. They plugged it into the wall and it put electricity down the needle into the nerve at a really, really high temperature, okay? And that resulted in the nerve itself getting burnt. And that means that there's gonna be no sensory information coming from my quad at all, theoretically. Now, this sounds like quite an insane thing to do, but I want to let you know that this is actually okay, and it's probably better than having surgery to get this nerve cut, and it's probably better than taking a lot of drugs and things like that. I didn't really want to do that. I didn't really want to get steroid injections. I thought this was the safest and best thing for me to do. The reason why is that this nerve only gives you sensation in that particular area. It doesn't provide any motor output. It doesn't help you move. It doesn't do anything except give you that. And so this burning of the nerve will probably last a year or two, and it'll give me time where this nerve is not pissed off to actually address maybe some underlying problems. Maybe I still have some tendinopathy going on that's still compressing this nerve that I can now start to actually treat in a manageable way without having to think about this constant annoying nerve pain, okay? It gives me lots of stuff to do. Maybe I can start to build up my running a little bit, do my rehab, continue to do the rehab, never stop doing the rehab, and then hopefully this never happens again. Very interesting surgery, and yes, it did kind of hurt, but they put like a local anesthetic there, so it wasn't too bad. It just kind of felt like really, really, really bad pins and needles. So there you go. Now, I've got to say that my opinion on this actual procedure was pretty informed too, because I had a whole month to dig through all the literature available on this radiofrequency ablation to figure out what the outcomes are, what complications are. And so I made an informed decision to get this done. And so far, it's felt a little bit better. It's just a little bit obviously sore because I've basically burnt something inside my body. It'll probably take me a day or two before I start to get back running again, but you know, I've already taken his time off anyway, and I don't really give a shit anymore. So this could be the start of something brand new on this channel, an uninjured Connor, which is probably unheard of. So what are my goals for the future? Well, realistically, I just want to be able to exercise without pain, and my exercise to not be limited by pain. I really want to get back on the bike. I really want to get back in the pool and do some pool stuff, you know. I really want to just be able to go and run and not have to stop because my hip is starting to hurt, or it hurt because I spent 5 hours in the car the day before, or it hurt just randomly because this morning I woke up and it was burning pain. I just want to be able to do things without pain. I just want to run and do it in a smart way and just slowly build up and enjoy the process of getting fit again. Man, I just miss getting on the bike and going to the shops with my missus to go get some groceries and, you know, just enjoy that process of living. My next goal is to not put pressure on myself to get back super fit right now. It's simply just to enjoy the process of getting fitter again. I'm not going to push anything. I'm not going to do a race just because I feel like I need to. Like, I've already pulled out of Gold Coast in July because, like, I just can't be asked. Plus, accommodation in Gold Coast is absolutely criminal unless I want to sleep on the beach and then just walk to the starting line. Maybe I could make that work. But anyways, now I already planned for dropping out of Gold Coast, and I'm just going to do the City to Bay half marathon here in Adelaide in September, and maybe the Melbourne half marathon in October, or both. I'll just do both. But here's the thing. Everyone on this channel that watches this channel doesn't actually give a shit about whether I do races or whether I run really fast or anything like that. You're here to learn and improve your own lives, and I'm kind of like the person that's going to help you to do that in my own little, not glazing myself way, and that's perfectly fine. I'm glad that I've built a channel that's not based on me having to run fast times for the popularity. I can just be myself, interact with you guys the best that I can, and just have fun with it, okay? And if I do run really fast one day, I probably still won't even record it, because I'm not going to be one of those idiots with their mate on a bike in the middle of a race like an absolute twat. And I'm definitely not going to carry a camera during a race that I'm trying to push really hard with. That just seems silly to me. But one thing is for sure, as long as you guys are getting value out of this content, I will never, ever give up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Never give up! Also, Welcome 10 at checkout gets you 10% off. Holy shit!